It's August 28th. Excuse the hair. I just finished blow drying so I could curl it. But I'm still reflecting on the dream, the experience with Jose, the energy, the heaviness, and the settling, the connection to settling, how that made it harder for me to recognize him when he came, when he was hugging me energetically. I didn't recognize him because of the heaviness of the emotions, the worry and the fear that he was holding on to. And then thinking about my client, right? She wasn't settling for mediocrity, and then the dreams about the three different people, right? The three different people, four really, if I include myself in it, because I was in it, and how problems were resolved, right? So then I started thinking, okay, at the individual level, at a couple level, right? Interaction with someone else. So then, because the three, we just kind of keeps, it's a domino effect, right? That's society. At the societal level, what would that look like? In terms of policy change, right? I mean, this is at the individual level, one's own agreements with oneself. Right? My client had the agreement in the email before she confronted me. She had put in there, I've decided to not settle. That's something like that. I've decided to not settle. Right? It's the agreement that you make with yourself. And so then the next level was you with someone else, right? The agreement that you have with someone else about your interactions with one another. So when you don't say anything, you're settling, right? You're not addressing the discomfort or the situation to problem solve, to work together at it, right? And that was something that I know my ex-friend and the person I had forward, that they had enough of that. They had enough practice, right? To know. But that's what you did before. Is this element. Well, no, it's what you continue to do, right? And in their situation, they worked at it. I think that was the difference between their relationship and my relationship. Well, one of many differences, right, is they worked at it. There was an issue, they addressed it, there was conflict, and they worked at it. But there was a commitment to work at it. And it just depended on how honest each of them were about their issues, right? Because I know they weren't that honest. And then you have my situation, right? I was definitely not honest. I was trying to make it seem like everything was fine, but it would only bottle up at those 3 moments in the 14 years where I would start crying and just everything would come out. And then his family, they don't know anything about communication either, because they bottled up stuff all the time. There was a lot of secrets. So he didn't know how to communicate. So here we are, two people who don't know how to communicate, don't know how to argue. He also experienced stuff that, I know there was maybe at least one moment, that's from what he remembers, that he shared with me, that there was an argument and he didn't like it. So we didn't know how to argue. And it was harder for us, for the mutual effort it was unbalanced. I gave too much. I worked at it too much. I tried to save us. But we can't save other people. it has to be a collective effort. So I was thinking about that. I was like, okay, what would this look like at a policy level? You know, when with people not settling, right? And I was thinking about, you know, people advocating, yeah, all the advocacy that's going on. And, you know, there's a lot of, well, I mean, I'm assuming, right? I don't watch TV, but on my phone, there's advertisements here and there about prop this, prop that. November's around the corner. So then I thought about that. How would one know, right? One, there's a bunch of jargon. A bunch of jargon in the middle of everything. Of true intentions, right? So it's like the people who put these policies and bills together make it very difficult for the average person to just understand, right? I mean, I can only speak for personal experience, but and I never liked that. I never liked that it was always, there was like, and then, you know, when you read the fine print, there's hidden agendas, right? There's hidden agendas in small print. So I thought about, okay, what do I know about politics? Not much. I took one poli-sci class in undergrad. I remember it was so hard. It was so hard because the professor had a monotone voice, and I was just like, but I still managed to stay engaged only because he had an accent. I don't know where he was from, but I remember he had an accent, and that was like what helped me stay, you know, engaged. I passed the class, but I remember it was a hard class because he was so This is the only poli-sci class that I can remember. No, let me do that. Political poli-sci. Well, I mean, I took for social work. You take it was an advocacy. What was the class called? But it was about like community involvement and planning. COPA. It was COPA, community organizing, planning, and administration or something like that. That's what it's called. We all had to take one of those courses. But again, I mean, it was interesting, but everything was always interesting. Like, just the whiff of everything was interesting for me. But anyways, so I don't know much about how policies are made. But then I was just thinking, I'm like, you use your common sense, right? In terms of what you commonly know. What is driving a lot of the policies that you're familiar with? Money. Money is always at the end of it, right? When you're making an agreement with another country, it's trade, right? It's who gets most. You know, you're always trying to find what's in it for you, right? And it's often like a monetary or some type of beneficial gain. But that's the thing, right, that I'm learning, is that the money is the end result. And a lot of people have this belief that I'll be happy when I get the money. I'll be happy when at the end of the journey. Not realizing that it's actually the moment, right, that is important. This is life. This is the moment, right? Don't wait to be happy when. Choose to be happy now, right? Find the small joys around you to be grateful for. Listening to good music, right? Being able to lay in bed in a balanced way, right? But again, back to the policy, I was just thinking of like, how would I know? How would I know what policy to advocate for? So then I thought about the whole settling thing. I'm like, well, it makes sense, right? It's, you don't want to settle. You don't want to settle. So the policy has to have something in it that demonstrates movement, that demonstrates progression versus protection, versus protecting, right? What is, right? Give you an example. Gun control. People don't want things to change, right? So that's already a red flag. What is it about the situation that you don't want to change, right? That would be a red flag for me. Like, you know, prove your case. If I'm seeing that most of the killings, right, and kind of looking at the information that's real, is how people are misusing, right, these tools, then clearly, right, and then using the world also as a foundation. So not just in the US, but how are other countries doing it, right? What do their rates look like? And so then it's this element of quality. And that was the opposite of that I was thinking about. I'm like, money right now is at the forefront of much of our decision making at the individual level, but also at the societal level, right? Because I'm a reflection of my community. I'm a reflection of what's happening around me. And so if right now there's still people very focused on money, 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 what's the opposite of that, right? What is it that we're really seeking? We're really seeking emotional satisfaction. We just are placing the power, the value of our emotional satisfaction on money. And we know that's not true, because there's people, right, who have money who aren't happy. So I have, consider the possibility that's not completely true for everybody. But what is true for everybody is this emotional satisfaction, this emotional well-being that we're all striving for. But we just have this perception that if I go to America, right, my family will be better off, which is true. It'll be true, because in their starting point, right, their well-being is stagnant. There's an imbalance of power and control, right? I was thinking about Chris Kazala, because I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's in Palestine right now. He's posting a lot of stuff about just the community and the oppression that's there presently, visibly in the communities everyday life, right? And just what he's experiencing with how they're doing their best to make the best of their situation, right? So I was thinking about that too. I was just like, we're all striving for better, but it's not, and we've just our attention is on something outside of us, right? The value, money. And for other people, it's not money. For other people, it's I need to move out of here because my environment is not safe, right? But then when they do, we get upset at them because they don't want to strive for anything else. Well, they did. They already, right? That was their goal. That was their mission. But it's about continuing, right? Continuing to strive for better, just in other ways. Once you reached your balance, right, and that's gonna be different for everybody. So it goes back to something that's qualifiable, quantifiable. What's the difference? I don't know. Emotion. It's emotions. It goes back to perception and emotions. Satisfaction, personal satisfaction. I'm just thinking out loud. Like, what would that look like at a policy level where it's not driven by money or monetary gain? Because, if we're being honest, I bet you not every single dollar that we have is backed up. Right? But enough value has been given to the dollar that it keeps flowing. But really, everyone is really just looking for well-being, right? Better emotional state of being from where they're at. And we think we have to oppress other people to gain it. And that's not the case at all. I'm just babbling, thinking. I'll meditate on it, but that's what I woke up thinking about as I was getting ready. That's all. Okay. The other thing is, it's not that money is bad. It's not. It's money helps a lot of people, right? there's organizations and stuff like that. It's the imbalance of the power that it has. That's what it is. So it's not, do away with capitalism, right? That's the other extreme. It's rebalancing. It's rebalancing our attention, the focus, right? The value of because if you think about it, capitalism, well, I don't know all the definitions, but it's about the wanting better, right? We all have an individual desire to do better, to want better, to better our situations, right? So there's parts of this, if I understand it correctly, because I'm not a poli-sci major, compared to other systems where everybody's the same, right? And no one can go above everybody else. Well, everyone has everyone's at a different starting point, right? So it's just about being mindful of how, being mindful of that, right? That everyone's at a different starting point. So their element of desire is and their own expansion is going to look differently. So we have to honor that at the same time. We have to honor the individual starting points of everybody, but as a collective, right? Because I was, it's the fan in the restroom. I think I shared this story. I don't know, but let me turn off the fan. The gardener story, I finished, I hope I did. I don't know if I did. But, I had a client and she was upset and frustrated, right? That the people around her weren't getting it. They weren't aware as she was. So I explained the gardener story, right? That think of a gardener who plants all these seeds, and in the general time frame, right, they all sprout. We all know, like harvest time, right? They'll all more or less sprout around the same time on a bigger scale. And then I said, but if you were to measure or really slow down that progression of sproutiness, each seed sprouts at a different time frame, right? So at the millisecond. So we're all at different starting points. General, moving forward, but at the individual level, we're at it. So we have to honor both. It's just about finding the balance. That's all I want to say. So I didn't want to knock capitalism completely, because that's how we all, advance and make our situation better. And when we do that, we're able to help other people, right? Kind of, come on, right? I made it this far, so can you. Let me help you with to balance that out, right? So it's going to be this element of, like, at some point, it's like, I'm visually it's like we're all, like, what's that? There's a machine, a musical machine that does that. Oh my god, it's so funny. Oh, I crack my own, I just crack myself up. But it's like, like some of us expand, and then you're just like, bring the other one up. But at the same time that you're bringing the other one up, there's other people that are expanding, right? Makes sense. To keep the momentum going. That's what it is. To keep the momentum going. Because imagine if everyone's just like, ugh! And everyone's like at one level, right? The coordinating effort to get everybody to push at the same time for expansion, it's so much harder, right? Versus it's like the visuals, whatever. Okay, that's it. Bye.
Hey you, my name is Yubi and I use she, they pronouns, and you've just finished watching a clip from my video diary entries where I'm documenting my healing journey as I learn how to navigate my spiritual awakening. I have learned that this experience and process is unique to each and every one of us in whatever way we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of formal mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself as these experiences unfold, and really inviting you along for the ride. Please know that there is a time gap between when these videos post and my real timeline, and also that these clips build upon each other similar to chapters in a book. So if you find yourself lost or confused, feel free to click on the playlist section or the link below, where you can jump around, check out the other chapters, and or catch up. Also, please know that you're more than welcome to check out my website, www.youbecominghealed.com, where I've gathered all of this information, my background, experience, and education to create online self-paced courses to help you on your healing journey wherever you are. You're also more than welcome to check out my other YouTube channel at You Becoming Healed, where I've entertained a podcast, including clips from these courses so that I can make this content accessible to more and more people. Please click like, subscribe, and share this content so again it reaches more people, with the hopes that other people will resonate and connect with the healing journey and the stories shared so that they don't feel alone in their own process. I thank you in advance. I'm grateful to you, and I wish you well.